T, what's up?
Hi.
What are you up to?
I'm up to calling you right now. It's just getting up, an hour ago. So I'm in my living room.
You've been fairly busy comparatively to other people.
Yeah. One, of course, like Blue Man and stuff, obviously. Well, everything obviously is shut down. So, but having little, just doing probably 400 shows a year and with just projects and Blue Man, everything. So having, say, a little break of not doing things constantly, it was like, okay, and let me see if we could focus on the positive of that was working on original stuff and finally getting a grasp of of finishing songs instead of having 9,000 albums of ideas and never doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So I have 2 original projects. Elliot Waits for No One with my friends Brian and Jenny. They live in Wisconsin, but we put out an album a few months back. We recorded it in the last couple of years, but still that's out. And then the Vevesi things with Corky and Tony Carboni, and then Jacob Chittister's playing with us. So yeah, we're a 5-song EP, which 3 songs are mixed now and ready, and one's already out. One's coming out on the 30th. Finishing that, and that's the other band I mainly drum in, and did some singing and writing this one. I'm just writing and singing and drumming. Area 15, that new complex that Chris Wink is, the founder of Blue Man, is involved. He has his own little Wink's World, his own little art exhibit thing there, and got involved in doing stuff with him, with Nan and Vince that you know, and some dancer friends, and doing the Raiders game. We're doing a little pre-show thing, and we did 3 of those, and hopefully we're supposed to have one coming up. Femmes of Rock. I had a gig in Texas. Then most stuff is, and then it's been cool to work on original stuff and still keep stuff going, but then at the same time there's not. The reality is not very limited pay gig unless you're going out there doing a single performer. Really, I've done some gigs, and of course, financially, it's not even close to what it was. Advice during this time, I said for me, because at the same time, I said, oh, cool, I guess I'm not as sore because I'm not playing as much. So a little break from playing, the show I played 20,000 times before, maybe it's okay. Of course, I wanted to come back. But the point is, take advantage of working on stuff you want to do or whatever in life. But I know it's been 7 months now. Spend time with your family or whatever, or you just accomplish stuff, or creatively, it's a huge thing. To work on stuff, and that's probably been the biggest for me. It's been the biggest reward is finishing stuff. It's okay, and then not thinking, oh my God, it's never gonna get out there. There's nothing ever gonna come back. Don't dwell on that, oh my God, this is useless. Nothing's gonna, everyone has their, moments of days most of the time I'm fine with it, but other times, of course, it's holy shit, come on. but I do, when there's really busy and almost too busy in a way, I feed off that. So I like being extremely busy. Somehow that's I operate better, really playing all the time. And, but then I look back at it, I'm like, it's something about that. Everyone's different. I said something about that driver. I feel like I'm accomplishing something by doing that, besides getting paid. It's just, just because, of course money is great and all that, but, you really do the same thing for most situations, whether it's, $1,000 or $2.
So talk about your performance. Do you have any influences, or do you just kind of go with the flow? What do you think about how other people perceive you on stage?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Are you talking about when out front or drums or whatever?
I guess both. As a frontman, you're a really strong personality.
Because drums, it's, I guess, playing, just doing the thing, that's its own thing too. But as far as specifically frontman thing, it's funny, my girlfriend would always say, she's like, that's when I'm the most free. So she would enjoy that, even though it's kind of psychotic and crazy, but it's like
the risk taking that is involved in your style of performance. Do you feel like you're taking risks when you perform?
Right. Well, first I get an influence too. I'm gonna get on all that. Mike Patton is a huge influence as far as my presence of Mr. Bungle, Faith No More bands, and Jonathan Davis of Korn, those kind of vibe wise as far as that on stage. And I tried to come in my my own. I think I have through the years more of just whatever, my own energy. The Tinnitus thing, for example, it's yes, we're doing covers and stuff, but try to make it more of a show and make it your own thing, and the variety. Just kind of make it this thing where it's owning it, and then just and you have certain things planned out, but it's not like I'm planning out exactly my moves and stuff. And to have, because most of the time you try to plan certain things and it doesn't work out as the spontaneity. Yeah, so I just kind of like that always been like, yeah, if I think about it or like watch like, oh my God, wow, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I shouldn't do that. But then in the moment, it feels like, I mean, you think of like sports, how much, even way more risky. Or most things like that type of energy. I mean, this is not that dangerous. I think I've been really lucky through the years of not really getting hurt. A little bit here and there. So basically, yeah, it's just kind of this to try to keep it controlled chaos, whatever, is absolutely free and like insanity. But somehow it feels, most of the time I say, because sometimes I was maybe in a mood and it got really intense and it was not a good feeling, like, oh, okay, calm down. But most of the time, 95 or 99% of the time, it's actually very positive feeling. So it seems all this crazy. And then people's response, like yourself said, like, thank you. Like they have that reaction, like, oh, okay, which is great to hear. Like, wow, you make me feel so good. Even if you don't like, that's not your favorite style of music, even just to watch it, it makes them feel alive and excited. Karen, who passed away a few years ago, she was always in a wheelchair and, would come to the show and, she just communicate in her way that said, that was, it makes her feel alive. See, man, that was probably one of the best comment because she, couldn't really, wasn't mobile, just move around and stuff. And that was like, she so enjoyed that. It made her feel alive. And I was like, wow, that's kind of the ultimate compliment.
That's the good stuff. That's what it's all, to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, too. Yeah, right. Because that you can't, it's, cliche, better than any drug or whatever. Yeah, so about that, what you just said about the calculated risk of the training, it's probably literally been kind of performing my whole life, and that will go into where I started. And It's always mentally, even if I was on stage, it was always all the world's a stage, and I think I was kind of put here for that purpose. 70 risks per song in a way. But to me, it's not really a risk because it's like, oh my God, I should have fell or got hurt like thousands of times. But I don't, because it's part of it. It's not like, to me, most of it's not really risky in a way. It's like, okay, it's just somehow, it's just natural, or somehow a part of me, I think some stuff is, a little risky, but then I can't think about it too much. Certain things, yes, it's like, okay, yeah, don't throw that microphone there, or like you almost hit Todd, or you almost, knocked Andy in the face with the mic stand. I'm like, oh, okay, but it just happened in the moment. It didn't, so I'm like, okay, don't do that part. There's certain things you do have to take note of, and and still not curb your enthusiasm. Tonight is basically, actually I was in South Korea with Blue Man, and on the tour in 2008, and I was with Waitsik. I was like, hey, I think I'm starting a band, like a cover band, like do like, I don't know, Faith No More, Manson, Rage, all these, this, kind of heavier stuff, but, not maybe as known stuff. I don't know. And he's like, well, he goes, and who's going to be your drummer? Or something like that. Like, I'm like, right, you. And he's like, yeah. So he was totally into it. And then we're thinking, okay, and at the time, that's when we got, I think it was Mike Burns and Mike Suter and then Brent Fitz. That was the original lineup. And that was, in 2000, we played the Dive Bar, was the first place we played. It was like 2008. And the concept, and then it just kind of morphed from there. And incorporated like, heavier songs that we liked, that some were known, maybe some weren't as known. And then it just advanced to like have a, belly dancer, or have like someone from Cirque, or have like a actor read poetry, and then strings, incorporate, a trumpet, incorporate whatever, kind of to make it more like if David Lynch were to come up with a metal-ish, surreal band. Kind of make it a more artsy, so to say. So to incorporate, you have like Slipknot, Manson, but then throw in like Neil Diamond and Elvis Presley, and then throw in some weird acting things and some whatever. So it'd be entertaining just in general, or just play the music as well as you can. Eclectic covers, and usually they're more intense, heavy vein, and then just become really interesting. Have like 8 drummers play on a song with you at once. Just, incorporate a lot of talented, especially in Vegas, pull from the pool of, hey, you want to sit on this song? We're doing this, thing, and make it a little out there and not the norm and interesting.
where you're from.
So the whole deal, I'm from Syracuse, New York, upstate New York.
That's right.
I probably started playing drums when I was around 5. Actually, I was going to play guitar first. I started playing guitar, and then very shortly after, it became drums. I remember seeing this drummer, my older brother Jim, a few years older. He was just in the school band, so I'd go to the concerts, and I saw this drummer, I think the first time with a drum set on the stage, and I was like, Mark Maisie, his name was, and I was like, wow, that just somehow, like playing the kid, was a little drum solo at the end, not really a solo, but just a little fill. And it's like, somehow that struck me. And then kind of from then on, I just like, I think I'll play drums. And then my parents got me drum lessons, 2nd grade, private lessons, basically up to my first and only year of college. Community college, Onondaga Community College in basically the Syracuse area. Took some music courses, was doing all right. Then I started to get behind. I'm just like, I'm not going to school anymore. So, which I don't regret. So basically I took private lessons all through that. And then I was in the school bands. And then I did the all-county, which I don't know if you know what that is, all-county or all-state, where I did all-county 4 years in all the high school years, and jazz came in first place for the jazz for each year, which not that I consider myself an amazing jazz player, but I got elements, but it was still cool to do that. All-state, New York, I came in first place for that.
Nice.
So which was kind of cool. But once again, I said, not that I'm Mr. Authentic Jazz, but it was... So I think that's what makes my style. I have elements to do of it, but by no way am I going to be playing in Chick Corea's band next week. Well, that'd be interesting. It'd be a different thing, I'm just saying I got elements of it. I could have my own thing with it, but I'm not, Mr. Authentic Jazz guy, I guess. I didn't really delve so deep because I think it was a thing. It's like just in my soul, so to say, and all that. It's the rock element is by far dominant, that energy. So yes, I have some, but I would probably never be as good of a jazz player because it's just not fully in me, the patience to really, it's just, So I did that in, high school, and then was in, bands that me and my brother were playing since we were kids. He played sax, I played drums, then he played guitar, and then the original band I was playing in clubs since, it was our first band, and I was 16 playing in clubs and all that. And then, so I was doing, local bands, and then I ended up playing with Joey Belladonna, the singer of Anthrax, in 92 after he was out of Anthrax. So that's when, it was the last time I worked a regular job, basically. So, actually just we kept recording, and then we did just a few gigs. So straight in the scene, it was kind of thing I was working at a hospital, like in the dish room. I'm doing my thing here, doing some gigs here and there. I was like, whatever, I was fine, but then he was like, called me and was like, hey, you want to, after the audition, want to join? And they put me on retainer I was like, so I quit.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, sweet. So that, so that was really cool. I got to have that experience, and then ended up going to guitar player Joe Stump, did some albums with him in Boston, bass. So, and then I had a disco band in Syracuse, how I got discovered for Blue Man, the United Booty Foundation. I was drumming in that, and it was really successful for years. We'd play every week in front of, between 4 to 2,000 people, 400, and like 4 gigs a week. It was crazy.
Wow.
And I'd go out front and do like the Tinnitus kind of stuff. I was drumming, but I'd go out front. We'd do like I Will Survive and Disco Inferno, and I'd go out front and do like Rage Against the Machine. Go and then get back behind the kit. Or just the show would totally kind of thing, like almost a Tinnitus would totally change gears. Right. Playing disco, a lot of great stuff. But after I was like, okay, it's like that was a saving grace to go out front and do the whole freaking crazy.
Is that where Blue Man picks up?
Yeah. So I was in Syracuse so then I was pretty much doing that for 5 years. So in 1999, Kat Gillette was a casting agent at the time. She was like working with Todd Perlmutter, who was the music director. And she came up to me in Thanksgiving, I remember 99, said, hey, you should audition for Blue Man Group. And I'm like, what's that? And it's like, explained what it was. It was on Letterman the following week, and the first CD audio came out. So she gave me her contact info and all that. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Sent a resume in. Fast forward a few weeks, went to New York for audition, and then fast forward a back and forth for a month or two because I didn't get it. Because it was like a 9-month, hundreds of drummers process. And then finally it came. I got a phone call on the way to another gig, and it was like, can you fly out to Vegas tomorrow? And it was like basically like, okay, no, Monday. So a couple days later, they flew me out, and I learned the show in like 5 days, and it was like, you want the gig? And I said, yes.
I'm going back to find the other me, the one that's lonely as he can be.
Elliot Waits for No One is another original project, which Brian Trock and Jenny Frank, husband and wife now, writers. They write most of the stuff. I contributed some writing as well, sang a little bit, and mainly drum on the thing. But Brian and I actually go way back. We had a project called Shooting Hemlock back in 1995, 96. So that basically then we reconnected a few years back. They basically had this project going. He had like some industrial metal thing I was going to play on with him. And then he showed me some tunes for this Elliot Waits for No One. I'm like, this is really cool. So we scrapped the other idea, kind of. I mean, he pursued that, and I was like, well, let's do this. So short version, it's on this Dark Star Records. Is the debut album. Came out a few months back, and new videos coming out, I think on the 30th, and the Who Am I video is there, stuff like that. So it's like a 13-song, eclectic. It's in the rock realm, not really metal, but it's more rock. I mean, one song has like upright bass, another one has horns and cello, and then another one has just, kind of has just acoustic, so it's all over the map in the rock genre.
I am the one that thinks that you should be fine. You hate it. You hate it. You hate it! Hello, hello, hello. Everyone is listening.
You Should Be Fine music video, Vevesi, which means it's a Samoan word for chaos. So there's coming up different names and different languages for like tinnitus, scattered, all these things, and Corky had one of those listed. So on that particular track, I did drums, sang, and then Carboni played guitar and bass, and Corky, he mixed it, produced it. And then my brother Joe edited it. Just went to my house, Tony did like the guitar and bass at his, sent us those things, then we did like the drums and the vocal stuff all at my house, like shot some stuff outside, just did like, a bunch of different takes of each, just to like, okay, what can we do to make this, and my brother like sent me like some 20 seconds of it, like, oh, okay, the beginning like just looked freaking cool. And it had this element, and then the movie, the footage in there's from a movie, actually it just came out on iTunes, released, Die Influencers Die. We put footage in there because actually the opening scene of that movie is that song. Gary Arona, the director, his wife Tabitha Stevens, the producer, and I met them at Monday's Dark doing Enter Sandman. I was singing, and then I put the same thing in that. Doing that, then in the middle of the Now He Lay Me Down to Sleep, I put the leather gimp mask on, and they saw that, and they're kind of like, I met them after, my friend Scotty, and they're like, oh my God, that guy's crazy. we gotta, they were writing this horror movie, and they're like, we got a character that'd be perfect for you, and no audition. If you want it, it's yours. It's one of those things. You just see some, so I play this character Max in the movie. I have a few scenes in that. So that was a great experience. That was an amazing experience, and I can't wait to do, I'd love to do more. I think we're going to do something else in the, another scene for something else in the future. So that was cool. And then I sent, I got songs. They use most of the music from Brian Slagle, the owner of Metal Blade Records. I gave him a few songs in that genre that would fit, I think, the movie. And he's like, oh, this would be great. And he kind of rewrote the opening scene because of, the fit with that song. So I'm like, great, cool. On the positive, on the negative note, the reality is no, it's not back to normal for entertainers in any aspect, crew, whatever stuff. But yes, things are starting to come back. I guess the good thing is that things can change very quickly. So, and they got to get back. And I hate that term new normal. No, normal. But in the meantime, while it can be frustrating, financially or even mentally, like there's only, yes, I've been lucky to do some stuff, so which is great. And if not, just prepare, as I said, work on original music or whatever, a screenplay, anything creative, anything, because now you have the time to do it, and then you'll have arsenal for when things do, open up. Do it yourself, or if you have someone you want to collaborate with, just do it. Just try to find some motivation, because I bet you, even if you're not in the mood, you start something, and no matter what, you don't have to have the full game plan in your head. You could have something. You just got to do something, because then that will just fuel itself and start to spark. Record a video. I mean, it could be simple. Just start somewhere and keep doing it, because then you never know. Because you never know what could happen. I said you meet, and I still think network is king. You make honest, good friends, like real friends and stuff in the business and stuff like that. Keep in contact with people, check in. Well, because you just, that's the other important, you have your own, everyone has their own talent in your own thing. But if you don't know anyone, you're probably not going to do anything. That I shouldn't say that. You still can, but it's much easier. If no one knows you, you don't know anything. How can you get? You gotta meet. Practice once in a while or writing stuff. Think about a new repertoire, and you can still. It's a little downtime now, but it will come back, and then the fire's going to be there stronger than ever. That's for sure. Yeah. People are going to want to see stuff, and you're going to want to play. Being negative about it or thinking it's hopeless, that literally does zero. So only doing whatever you can find creatively or positive is only going to be positive. Do something. It'll end up working out. See, this is because it's just me here, so my living room's like, so here's a piece of advice. Become more of a slob when you have more time to clean up your house, but then just have random gear everywhere. Because, can you see?
I love it. It's great.
Let's see, what else we got?
Nice. Oh, wow. You have all kinds of setups. So it's comfortable. It's a comfortable place to be quarantined in.
It's comfortable in chaos.
Doesn't that sum everything up, really?
It does. And then we go over to here, and then you got the other room with jam. This is actually where we rehearse and stuff. Found something else. I didn't really touch on that. I guess people could find, even if it's not music, your mental health, or maybe you get in shape more. Not that I have been, but I'm saying maybe you just take better note, because that's the thing that's really not pitched in the word. Like, get yourself in better health because of stuff like this. The healthier you are, the healthier, the more, you'll be able to handle something,
Exactly.
So that's only positive. Get in shape. Then again, I'm not saying I am necessarily as much
but
as.
But thinking of self-care and getting better, you have to.
You have to, and then that's more of a, that's take advantage of that. That's easier to do when you're like constantly busy. But that's the same way the playing thing. Like for you guys, it's not like, I can't wait to get this back together. Now we can do our gigs. Like, no, it's not like you're enjoying this. Actually, if things were normal, you'd be happier now doing what you're doing. After wrapping this all up here, if you're even remotely thinking of something, or you have something you want to pursue, but you're afraid to I don't know, people are going to like it, or how am I going to do this, or anything like that, as one of the only very few slogans I actually like in the world, as Nike said, just do it!